Pets are nothing short of a blessing upon this world, and they are as important as children to millions of us. They light up our life with their presences and are trustworthy companions to have by your side. However, like everything else in life, sometimes being a pet owner can take the wrong turn too, and it can lead to some unfortunate consequences. This can range from a single scratch to people losing their lives, which is the utter definition of things going from 0 to 100. That is the topic for today's list, as we are going to take a look at the 10 pets who ate their owners. Don't worry, this does not happen under normal circumstances, and we'll be explaining what caused these reactions to happen. But before we start with today's list, we want to ask you to hit the subscribe button below and push that bell icon so you will never miss one of our videos again. Number 10. Janet Veal's Cats and Dogs. 56-year-old British lady Janet Veal was the proud owner of many cats and dogs in her apartment. Unfortunately, due to a reclusive lifestyle, people did not check on her, and she did not have any kind of support for herself in case of a sickness or injury. The worst happened as she passed away due to a medical history of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and it wasn't until 3 months later when the police finally gave her apartment a visit. When they found her, her body was partially missing as she was being eaten by the cats and dogs in her apartment. There was no evidence found of the animals eating her while she was alive, so they essentially only did it to survive once she died. But it's still a very tragic thing to happen. Number 9. Family ferrets. Family and ferrets are two words that should not be in the same sentence due to how unpredictable this animal can be. But unfortunately, too many people ignore the fact and adopt them. There are several incidents where ferrets have attacked children and babies, and two of the most notable incidents took place in 2011 and 2015 respectively. In the first incident, two parents were sound asleep in their room when they heard their baby cry. They assume that it's a normal case of the baby being hungry or needing their diaper changed. But when they got to the room, they were horrified to find out their pet ferret had eaten 7 fingers of their baby, leaving only 2 thumbs and 1 little finger behind. The ferret was then killed while the baby was taken to the hospital and slowly recovered. But doctors could not do anything for the chewed-off fingers, and that is something that the child has to live with for the rest of their life. In the second incident, the mother of a 1-month-old baby left her alone for a moment and came back once she started to hear screams, only to find 1 to 3 ferrets eating the baby's flesh. Once the ferrets were removed, it was found that the baby's nose, lip and cheek were eaten by the ferrets, and the baby needed many surgeries to recover from the attack. The parents of the baby were later charged with child endangerment by the court. Number 8. Mark Vogel's Spider and Other Exotic Pets. Mark Vogel was kind of a recluse, as he did not let people visit his apartment, and the people who lived close to him considered his place a zoo, since it was filled with over 200 spiders, several snakes, thousands of termites, and a gecko. It's unknown when exactly he passed away, but after some days the neighbours had started noticing a stench coming out of the apartment. Once the police decided to check on him, they saw that his corpse was on a sofa and gigantic webs were covering his body, which was covered with many spiders. They were coming out of the holes in his body, and many pieces of his flesh were eaten by lizards too. It is estimated that he was dead for approximately 14 days before he was found, and that his black widow is believed to have killed him before the others joined the feast. Before we continue with someone who kept a hippo as a pet, please hit the like button to fully support us. Number 7. Marius's pet hippo Humphrey. A farmer in South Africa ignored the warnings of many experts who told him that keeping a hippo as a pet is incredibly dangerous. Not only did he keep a 1.2-ton hippo as a pet, he also considered it his son and called it Humphrey. He has been quoted saying, "Humphrey's like a son to me. He's just like a human." And he let him roam freely in the river on his 400-acre farm alongside other humans. Unfortunately, at the age of 40, Marius was eventually bitten to death by the pet hippo, and his body was found in the river, missing parts of flesh which were eaten by the pet that he considered a son. Number 6. Pam Weavers' pet camel. Pam Weaver was gifted a pet camel by her husband on her 60th birthday due to her love for exotic animals. They originally wanted to give her a llama or an alpaca, but they were too expensive, and as a result, they went for a camel instead. The camel had been displaying erratic behavior with some of the other animals at first, and then eventually knocked Pam down and then accidentally straddled her to death. A camel expert later pointed out that the camel's behavior was sexual, not hostile. Number 5. Kellyanne Waltz's pet bear. The Waltz family had a permit for keeping, displaying, and selling exotic animals, and they used this to keep a cougar, jaguar, African lion, bear, leopard, tiger, and 2 servals on their property. The animals were taken good care of, and Kelly truly loved having all those animals as her pets. Unfortunately, she went inside the cage of her pet bear to clean it one day and fed the bear some dog snacks. Once she looked away, he attacked her on the back and mauled her to death. Their neighbour Castone was the one to find her in the situation and shot the bear in self-defence as it tried to attack him right after getting off Kellyanne Waltz's body. Unfortunately, it was too late and she had already lost her life. Number 4. Gypsy the Burmese python. It's almost never a good idea to keep a python if you're not an expert with a good history of health, and this family learned that the hard way. Charles Darnell and Jaron Hay left their 2-year-old daughter unsupervised, and their python has already been known to occasionally escape repeatedly. Eventually, they found the 8'6" snake wrapping its body around the toddler and biting onto her head in an attempt to eat her. The child did not survive this encounter, and it was later found out that the python had not been fed properly for nearly a month. Due to their negligence as a parent, they were convicted of 3rd-degree murder and sentenced to 12 years in prison. Number 3. Scarface the Pitbull. Scarface is a pretty deadly name for an animal, but pit bulls are very common pets that no one advises against when it comes to safety. Unfortunately, there are some cases where amateur treatment can cause them to react violently, and that's what happened to poor Brenda Gurrio in 2017. As she was trying to put a sweater on the dog, it became aggressive and began mauling his owner, injuring her as it tried to eat her flesh. Her husband and another adult came to her rescue, but the dog refused to let her go. They then proceeded to stab the pit bull numerous times and escaped the house. Eventually, the police came and tasered the dog enough for additional help to tranquilize it. And then it was euthanized because it posed a threat to humans and was severely injured too. Fortunately for Brenda, she survived with minor injuries at the end of this situation. Number 2. Harry and Sally. Harry and Sally are 2 pugs that were raised by their 51-year-old owner in an apartment. One day, their owner shot himself in the face and committed suicide, leaving the dogs helpless and without any food. Unfortunately, they had to resort to eating their owner's body to survive until the police found them and put them up for adoption after care, which was successful, and they found a new home. They ate the brain, bits of the face, and some parts of the torso of their owner, which is extremely horrifying and something that no dog or human should have to go through. Number 1. Ronald Huffs' pet lizards. Ronald Huff was the proud owner of not 1, not 2, but 7 6-foot-long Nile monitor lizards in 2002. After he did not show up for work, the police checked on his apartment and found his dead body being eaten by his lizards, with his face, hands, and stomach organs being devoured. While it wasn't ever concluded whether he was murdered by the lizards before being eaten or not, it still caused stricter rules to be applied for the international trade of exotic pets, and over 2,000 reptiles were impounded by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. So while the lizards may have not caused the death, having your body eaten by them is still a thought that disturbs many. That's it for our list of the top 10 pets who ate their owners. Be careful before getting any pet that can be easily agitated or is dangerous in general. There are many polite animals that you can adopt, and it's not worth putting your families and yourselves at risk. With that being said, it's surely tragic that these people had such terrible consequences, and we hope people are more careful in the future. We hope you found this video informative. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon for instant updates.